The big news yesterday has definitely caused this weekend to not give us the green we were hoping for. Unfortunately, the U.S. striking Iran caused a little bit more uncertainty in the market, and it's more uncertain for altcoin holders. That is, in fact, where we're seeing a lot of the bleeding taking place right now. We need to talk about what BTC dominance is doing. We need to talk about USDT dominance. And I will say that, there's some ranges here where ADA could look at, in fact, bouncing, and we need to talk about that in this video, how things may progress in this next week, which is very crucial. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. It's been growing like crazy, and it's all because of you guys. So I will say that, first of all, ADA being in the mid 50s is what we talked about potentially happening. Did I think that the US was going to strike Iran? No. So that was a little bit of a surprise. And I think it caught the market just a little bit flat footed. And now because of that, what we're seeing is some weakness from altcoins. Not a great sign here. Actually, BTC dominance had stayed pretty much consistent, but now it is in fact climbing, hitting a new cycle high. We're going to talk about that more here in just a second. But what I will say, ADA being down in this 54-cent range, it is now oversold on the daily RSI. It's oversold on the stochastic RSI, kind of almost hitting that flat line like we've talked about before, which can be good because that can in fact lead to some bounces, which I want to talk about that more in a different video because I found something really, really interesting there. But what I will say is, looking at this fib retracement here, from our swing low down at about 52 cents is kind of the range that if ADA does keep leading, that's what I look for. You guys obviously know we could potentially see a triple bottom down around 50 cents or so. Didn't think ADA would get there, but unfortunately, guys, we just continue to hemorrhage across the crypto market on this negative news. We are just getting pummeled right now. We've just gotten a series of blows that have just not allowed us to essentially pick up any steam, which sucks. And I want to talk about something else here in just a moment as well. But BTC right now actually having a bit of a green day, despite a little bit more selling overnight. We're really fighting that 50-day moving average. Hopefully we can get back above that. Would love to see at least some strength there. But what I will say is BTC dominance, incredibly high, guys. Again, this is a new cycle high, 65.8%. And what we're seeing is, again, a lot of retail just flock back to stables. I've seen a bunch of comments saying, oh, I'm just dumping my ADA. I'm calling it quits. And, the markets are shaking, people. It is what it is. You can do whatever you want. I still do not think it's a good idea to dump your altcoins, but if that's what you want to do, go ahead. We're so far into this right now. And again, it's a question of, how low can we go? How bad can things get, right? We'll really have to watch this week because I think it's going to come down to a lot of, how much reaction is there from other countries around the world to the U.S. striking Iran. Iran is saying that, oh, no damage was done. It's not even bad, blah, blah, blah. But, we'll see what happens. If there are attacks on U.S. bases as the day or week progress, then, we might see a little bit more red. Again, we have to watch earlier in the week to see how the stock market reacts to this. Are we going to get some chop? I will say it seems like a lot of what we experienced this weekend has kind of been priced into the market already. Otherwise, you would think there'd be a lot more drops taking place, a lot more liquidations across the crypto market. And it almost feels like they're doing a good job of sucking bears in for a little bit of a bear trap. Once again, we tend to have a little bit of a bounce from here. Actually, there's something that kind of shows this too. I'll get to more of that in just a moment. But I will say that, the ADA long short ratio, for example, is at about a 9% imbalance to the short side. So you're basically sucking all these shorts back in and making everybody get kind of bearish in the market. And the question is, are you going to hit a wall of convicted holders, or are people just going to continue to capitulate? Right now, we're seeing some capitulation around the space. Now, looking at at this ETH BTC chart, we talked about, the potential of us mimicking back here in 2019, doing this kind of drop out of our bull pennant that we were building. We're doing the same exact thing. In fact, guys, this is actually what it looks like last market cycle compared to now. So if this is our wick down here, and we might get a potential rebound, essentially back to where we were at as we progress into July, which this shows July 15th or so, which is about 3 weeks away. But then a subsequent drop down, maybe we get some more negative news and escalations and whatever, right? But that's just, I thought was very interesting. But what people need to understand as well is now when the U.S. does get involved with other countries in this capacity, that can actually accelerate interest rate decreases. just something to potentially think about there. We might get kind of a yin and yang, a little bit of balance, some good news, some bad news. We might chop around for a while still, but the market has a lot to digest, especially as we get into the week. But the biggest thing I will stress is that, again, this market cycle has definitely been tough. There's been a lot more news that we've been dealing with here in 2025 that has just caused just so much uncertainty and negativity and pessimism in the market. And that does give me some excitement, because if the market has been suppressed this long, it tends to mean it's more explosive on the other end of it. So that's at least a little bit of a silver lining there. So we'll have to just be patient. We'll see if, today progresses and gets worse. We have talked about the levels we need to watch for, but hopefully ADA can get actually a very nice bounce. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. ADA actually sitting right on top of its 200-week moving average. That would be a really good spot for ADA to bounce from. And I'll talk about, again, something more in a later ADA video that actually has me really excited for what we might be doing from here. But I appreciate you guys, as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to get more red? Is this just the latest in our series of shakeouts? Do we, in fact, have some green coming? So have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.